So at this point, I would like to introduce Jason Timian, who I had a privilege to work with at the Department of Labor. He's the Bureau Chief for Labor Market Information at the Office of Research and Information at New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development. So without further ado, Jason.
Hi, good morning, everybody, and thank you, Zakir. Yes, as he mentioned, I work for the Office of Research and Information with the New Jersey Department of Labor. We work closely with the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics, and through several data collection programs, we're able to track the types of jobs that exist in our state's economy, the types of occupations, the earnings and employment levels, education levels. So you'll see in the next few slides just a sample of some of the information that we have. So just to start off, the healthcare industry in New Jersey adds about $41 billion to the state's economy. About $1 in $13 generated by New Jersey comes through the healthcare industry. As mentioned before, we've never gone a year since 1990 where the healthcare industry has actually declined in employment. That's through 3 recessions, including, well, the numbers aren't out for the most recent, but through two sizable recessions, and even through the Great Recession, healthcare continued to add jobs, roughly 250,000 jobs since 1990. We also project out into the future, and through 2026, healthcare is projected to add about another 80,000 jobs. Next slide, Karen. So with all this growth, you can see how the healthcare industry has changed through its employment levels. You'll hear me reference 1990. In 1990, there was a difference in how we classify industrial employment. So certainly employment records were kept before that, but under our new classification models, 1990 is kind of the beginning of time. So over the last, no, go back, please. Here we go. So from 1990 to 2018, you can see how the share of the healthcare industry has changed dramatically. Back then, nearly half of all employment was found in hospitals. That has shifted almost completely to now nearly half of employment is found in ambulatory health. And I think that's evident as I think the healthcare model has gotten away from being centralized services in the hospitals to more outpatient care. Okay, now next slide. Here you can see the annual growth since 1990. The colors are shaded with the ambulatory health in the blue, the hospitals in the orange color, and then the nursing residential care facilities in the purple. All 3 segments have grown significantly over that time, and you can see the results approaching 500 million or 500,000 jobs now in 2018. Go ahead, next slide. Here we show, this is actually monthly employment. And I have the slide in here to show 2 things. One, again, that the healthcare industry is shown to be nearly recession-proof. This data goes back to 2007, so this shows through the most recent Great Recession, as it was called. The red line here shows healthcare employment, again, monthly. What you see is a relatively flat line, which shows that there's no seasonality. If this graph were to show construction, you would see large bumps as construction employment slows up through the colder months where that kind of work can't be done. The blue line shows all other employment in the state. Here you see those large seasonal bumps. You also see a pretty large decline during the recessionary period in gray. Go ahead. This is just a little map of New Jersey showing healthcare or hospital employment, shaded in to the county. The deeper shades are, not surprisingly, in the more populous counties in New Jersey. And then we have each of the hospitals in New Jersey plotted out here. So pretty good coverage throughout the state. Here, this table shows the top 20 occupations that we track. Combined, they make up more than 2/3 of all employment within the healthcare industry. You can see again, they're shaded by the type of work that they do, whether they are a healthcare practitioner, healthcare support workers, or there are also lots of office administrative type workers. We track the, sorry, go back real quick. We track the employment. I'm moving my mouse around like you can see it, but you can't. We track the employment level, the education level there on the right, and also the annual average salary. Next slide, please. These are the top 10 and bottom 10 occupations that we track by their salary level. Fairly self-explanatory. We can leave this up for just a second, just to so everybody can see the types of workers by their annual average salary. Okay, next slide, please. Lastly, using census data, that's, we just passed the census date. We also collect employment of the demographics of our population. And this chart breaks out not just the, I call it current, but it's a few years dated, the age level of our population, and then that is also projected out into the future so that we can plan accordingly. Everything is fairly steady except for the top and bottom cohorts. You see that our population, those aged 25 or less, are projected to make up a much smaller percent of the population. And if you go down to the bottom, that percentage is made up by those 65 and older, with obvious ramifications for the healthcare industry. Next slide. So again, this is just a very brief summary of some of the data that we collect. There's a more detailed report available on our website. If you go to NJLWD, just Google that, that'll bring you right to our landing page and you can find the information there.